Good morning. I am Sam McDonough, IFBB Bikini Pro, and today we are going to recap the Euro Pro show that happened yesterday. We also will recap the Texas show, Republic of Texas. I watched the stream for it, and I have a video of the shows. We'll be able to really dig into why people placed the way they did and what I was thinking throughout. So, yeah, but today we don't have pictures for them, so I will wait until hopefully tomorrow they're out, and I'll make a video then. Or if they come out today, which I doubt they will, then we'll talk about them later today. But first, I would like to open with one of my favorite things that I saw today again. And it makes me laugh. Okay, so let's watch this together.
Riley Cyrus. Do you ever really get sweaty? And how do you prevent that? Shyly Cyrus. Which celebrity have you met that made you really embarrassed, nervous, shy? Versatilely Cyrus. What is the one skill that you have that your fans would be shocked to know that you could do? CSI Lee Cyrus. Besides your own television show, what's your favorite TV show? Spiley Cyrus. If you could be invisible and follow a boyfriend around for a day without him knowing, would I do it? Would you do it?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Okay, that's all. She had so many of them. And what's your favorite show other than your own? I don't think Hannah Montana was Miley Cyrus's favorite show at any point. Okay, you guys. Okay, I love anything related to Tyra Banks, so I had to show you that. So let's get into the show. Okay, let's start with the comparison photos. So the scorecard showed a perfect score all the way down, and that upsets me deeply because there's just no way that all the judges chose the exact same people. Yeah, I mean, okay, yeah, it's possible, but it is not likely. So I wish that it would reflect the true score of the show, because I think it makes shows more exciting. So, and I appreciate the transparency. So, in first place, we had Alice, and then Anna Setlack, Rookie, Lisa, Monique, and then Beatrix. That's our top 6. And who did I predict for the show? Okay, so I predicted it was going to be Alice, so I got that right. Monique, she ended up getting 5th. Beatrix ended up getting 6th. Anna, I had her in 4th. She got 2nd. Lisa, I had her in 5th. She got 4th. So I was pretty close. And then Rookie, I had her in 6th, and she got 3rd. So, I did okay. Not great. So, let's talk about what went down yesterday. So, let's start with the front poses, and I'll just pull up the front poses for the top 6, and we'll talk about all of that, and then I will move us to a photo where Anna and Alice are next to each other, because I think it was a pretty tight show. Actually, do I think it was a pretty tight show? Yeah, maybe, but not necessarily for first place, because Alice was on the, in that what we would look at visually and think is like a 3rd place spot for a while, but I think they just probably knew she was going to win, and they were deciding pretty closely between 2nd and 3rd. So let's get into it. So here we have Alice, winner, Anna 2nd, Rookie 3rd, Lisa 4th, Monique 5th, and then Beatrix 6th. So when I look at these photos and I pretend to be a judge, I open and what do I think? Okay, I think that Alice has the most balance in this first call out, and she has the conditioning. So I would say Beatrix and Alice are pretty similar in their conditioning. Like, the conditioning looks good. Beatrix could be a little tighter in the legs, but I think Alice has the muscles to support her placing. So she is really showing a lot of hourglass shape here. She's not overly muscular in any one area. She looks very uniform in the amount of muscularity she has all around. I would say Rookie also looks like she's pretty balanced in how much muscle she has, and so is Anna. However, they are just much tighter than Alice. And Tyler has said in the past that if it comes down to a more conditioned person and someone who's a little bit less conditioned, then the person who's a little less conditioned will win because they don't want to push it in bikini. Does that always happen that way? No. But I think at this show, they held the athletes to that standard. So I think Alice has great balance in her hourglass shape. So she tapers into a really tiny waist. Her muscles look full, but she hardly ever comes in very grainy. If anything, she risks coming in kind of flat. Like, for example, at the Olympia last year, I think she ended up kind of looking a little bit more sucked down than usual. Or did she? Actually, I feel like I've said this exact same thing before, and then I looked at the pictures and ate my words. So maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Actually, this conditioning looks good. She doesn't have as much pop in the back pose as she currently has, but maybe she also has had less muscle then. Okay, I don't know. Maybe I take it all back. She's a little too up and up here, so she's really fixed her front pose. Yeah, so she's too up and up, which kind of takes away from the hourglass shape because we don't get as much taper to the waist. Luckily, her waist is really narrow to begin with, so that doesn't hurt her too much, but I do love the changes she's made to her posing. So let's look at that again. So yeah, and I think her pose is the best in this lineup. Everyone else kind of looks like they, except for maybe Beatrix, everyone else looks like they're kind of pushing in a certain way. So I think Alice is really good. The only thing I would change is bring her arm in tighter to her glute without covering up her glute. It would just frame her waist a little better and make her arm look a little bit fuller, because when the arm is further out like this, it kind of minimizes the arm, so it looks like not quite as balanced with the rest of her physique as it could be if it were tighter, but still her balance is really good. I would say that the thing that is missing for me with Beatrix's pose is it almost looks like she's covering her glute a little bit. She's not totally. I do think her arm could just be pulled back behind her glute more. So right now it's like here. If she could pull it like here, I think that would be better, because she's already a little upper body dominant in this front pose. So when the arm comes that far in front of her leg, even if it's not that far, it looks more obvious because her leg size is lacking a little bit. Like, her glutes are really good, but she's lacking a little bit of width in her leg here. So it's just going to take more muscle over time. So that'll be probably a next season thing, whether that's like next year or just like the next season she competes. And then what else stands? So yeah, I was talking about the posing. So Rookie, the thing that's wonky with her posing, in my opinion, is the arm is rounded, making her look more upper body dominant. So see how, who's a good example of this? Honestly, Beatrix is a good example of this, even though her arm is a little further forward. But just that straighter arm, leans more bikini and more relaxed than this rounded arm, which reads a little more as like a figure pose. So you want to just look like you're standing there. You don't really want to flex that arm, and not that it's super flexed, but the bend makes it look like she's trying to flex it. So yeah, I would change that. I would just straighten the arm. I would take the hand off of the smallest part of her waist. So I would move it like right here to her connector, like Alice's is, because you don't want to cover up the smallest part of her waist. Her waist still looks tiny, but it just looks a little short-sighted, because why would you want to cover up the smallest part of your waist? And also her shoulder is like sinking down back here, so if she could just drop her hand to her hip and then level her shoulders and straighten her arm, I think that would be a super relaxed, very good front pose for her. And then Anna, it looks like she's cocked pretty far back in her hip. I'm not totally upset by that, because she is more of a straight up and down structure. So it's not the worst thing that she's doing that. However, with every adjustment you make to your posing, there is a sacrifice. And in this case, it looks like the plus is that she looks more hourglassy, but the sacrifice is that it's jutting out her ribs here, and her arm is doing that same rounding thing. And this arm is like, this shoulder is like sinking down, so it looks tilted. So I would like her to have level shoulders like Alice. Alice is honestly like the blueprint in this front pose, minus the arm. So level in the shoulders is what I'd like to see on Anna. Straighten the arm like what you see on Beatrix, and pull the ribs in and down. That way we don't get this like jutting out. Yeah, okay. And then we have, the foot, could the foot be in a different position? Maybe, but this is not the worst thing. If anything, I would have it at a 45 degree like Rookie's is. So yeah, that's what I think there. I think there are some tweaks she could make here, but it looks like she made these tweaks because she needed to make tweaks to her front pose. So this is the first time I've seen her pose like this, so I'm sure it will improve from here. Yeah, so, and I hope she, I hope for her sake she gets an Olympia qualification soon. She's competed a lot this season and has gotten a lot of second and third places. Not all of her shows she's done are on the website because they weren't photographed. Like the One Bro Pro shows, there's been at least one, if not two. But yeah, there's definitely a couple shows that are not on NPC's website. Okay, and then in 4th place, we have Lisa. So this isn't a totally fair shot of her because she's all the way on the end. She's kind of angled in. But I have the same feedback with her front pose that I usually have, like straighten this arm. The ribs look a little more under control than usual. Maybe, maybe not. We'll look at the individual photos too. But the suit I think is pretty. The suit shape is not the best. I want it to fit more like, I want it to fit more like Alice's does. Yeah, like this shape is really good. Lisa's is more like pointy and angular, and I don't think it helps her physique. Like it almost points back, which kind of points at like her traps, which is not something you really want to accentuate. So yeah, the fit of this could just be better. We're seeing a lot of side boob. We're seeing a lot of like the lat here, which is okay, but like, yeah, I just want the suit to fit more like Anna's or even Ruki's or Alice's. Like, I think those all fit really. So does Beatrix. I don't like these two suit cuts. Yeah, and then Lisa's feedback for me, just until she corrects it, is like putting more size on her legs to balance her upper body, because her upper body is more dominant than her lower body. It's really her glutes up are where they should be, and like hamstring quad down needs some more size. So yeah, okay. And then in 5th place, we have Monique. Her foot is completely horizontal, which I think is making her low body look thicker. It definitely is. Like when you angle your toe like this, you get more of this taper into the quad and the hamstring. But when it's fully straight on like this, it looks more wellnessy, like you're trying to show a lot of width in your legs, and she's already under muscled in her upper body compared to her lower body. So it just further highlights that discrepancy in imbalance, and you want to be balanced in everything, including the amount of muscle you have on top versus the amount of on bottom when you're in your poses. You could have a very balanced physique when you're just standing straight on or straight to the side, but it matters how your physique looks in these poses. So yeah, hopefully that makes sense. Okay, and then Beatrix, I already kind of talked about her. I think it's just going to be more size, but she looks incredible. Makeup looks a little bit light. In this photo, I would like to see some more glam. Okay, so that's the initial like 6-person front pose, and then let's look at the back pose. So who stands out to me the most in this back pose? I would say Alice and... is this Ruki? Those two stand out to me the most. The only issue I'm seeing on Ruki is it looks like her glutes are shallow up top because her suit cut doesn't cover enough. So you see that shallow dip in her upper outer glute. But I think they have the most... and Beatrix, but she's so squatted into it that it's throwing me off. But I would say the most balanced back poses I'm seeing here are... I mean, Anna's is great, but I'm seeing like hamstring cords and then like major glutes, which is reading as an imbalance to me. So the glutes are the first thing I go to. And in Bikini, you want to just have your eye not go to anywhere specific. If something is distracting, that means there's probably an imbalance. So even though like Anna's back pose is really impressive, the discrepancy in hamstring development versus glute development is a negative for me. Would I love to have these glutes? Yeah, obviously. Yeah, I would love to get second at a pro show. But it's just not as balanced as I would say Alice, Beatrix, and Ruki's are. The most bubbly back poses, or like the conditioning that I think judges want to see the most, I mean, Beatrix is almost there. There's just an imbalance in her muscularity, but I think the conditioning is spot on. So relative to how much muscle she has, like, could she look better conditioned in certain areas like her legs? Yes, but she can't get as tight in her legs because then it would like show a bigger, it would be too tight to the point that she looks like skinny in her legs or something. So yeah, the person that stands out to me obviously is Alice. Like, she's very bubbly. She looks very balanced in her amount of muscularity. Her hair looks really nice. I love everything about this look. I think she could have a little less bend in her knees. It looks like she's squatting a tiny bit. But that's the only thing I would say. And from the back poses, I would probably, I mean, from the back and the front, like if I had to, we'll pull this up. From the back and the front, I would say my placings would probably, I see how they put Anna in second from the front pose, but from the back pose, even though I think Ruki could use some more development in her upper outer glute, I think she's more overall balanced than Anna. So I would probably have Alice, Ruki, Anna. In the back poses, maybe, I guess, yeah, maybe Lisa. And then Monique's looks really good, but she slopes off in the glutes here. And Beatrix is missing hamstrings, but I would probably put Beatrix and then Monique based on this. So yeah, this is a really good. This is a good comparison. Okay, now let's look at them next to each other. So here is their front pose. So Anna and Alice together. So maybe earlier the photo I pulled up was not fully posed for Anna, because now she is standing up tall like she normally does. So yeah, I think Alice is the clear winner here because her conditioning is exactly what they say they want. And I think looking at this photo, Anna does look better balanced than Ruki, because I think Ruki is missing some size in her legs just a little bit. Anna is missing some in her hamstrings in the front and the back, but I do see how Anna got second. I also think Ruki is more vascular than we're seeing in this photo, which is a little too conditioned for bikini. So yeah, that's what I think here. I think Alice is the clear winner, and see how Anna got second. Anna has really great stage presence. So yeah, that's what I think. So them next to each other, where Alice beats her is the conditioning, I think. Yeah, she could use more upper outer glute, but she's more complete than Anna, I think. And then in the back pose, I think that, Anna is very impressive, and I would like to see this amount of fullness on Alice, but I think that Alice is overall more polished. So this hair is a little bit too long. It's covering her glutes. So it just looks a little bit messy there. But everything else is really good. Like, she's very poppy. Conditioning looks right. She's just a little tight in the legs, but it's because she needs more hamstring, I think. And then, and then Ruki, I think it's pretty tight between these two. I think Ruki is a little more streamlined than Anna, because with how much her glutes project, it really shows that she needs more hamstring. And I wasn't there in person, so maybe that's not at all what it was like, but I can't help but see only shoulder caps and glutes in this photo. And the other things just are not quite matching for me. And Ruki, like I said, needs more upper outer glutes. So yeah, I think Ruki's hair looks really pretty. Okay, let's get into individual photos. So let's start with Alice. I mean, a lot of people usually count down from 5? I think so, but that is not what I'm doing. Okay, so there's her front pose. There's her back pose. So what do I think Alice needs to improve now that she is going to the Olympia? And congratulations, because she has been in prep since January. Not that everyone doesn't do long preps, but it's a long ass prep. So here is her front and her back pose. And what do I think she could improve? I think, honestly, she could bring this rib in and down so she's not too ribby, but she's newer to doing this front pose. Usually she's way more straight on. So I would say really just that. That's something she could improve in the short term and bring the arm in tighter. As far as her conditioning, I think this is the conditioning, maybe a little fuller so she's not too tight on this hamstring, but I don't know if she would lose her lines if she got fuller. So I think long term, the thing she needs to work on, which I don't think can be achieved this year, which is no offense to her, it's just when you're at the Olympia level, every tiny thing counts, and building muscle is just one of those things that takes a long time. So I think if she could take an off season that is long enough for her to really add some density and mass onto these glute. I mean, that's the same thing. Well, kind of. Just some more size on this upper outer glute here. I think she would be pretty unstoppable for most people. So yeah, that's what I'd like to see, because I'm not getting quite as much projection as I want in this back pose. So I want more depth in the front and the back pose, and that will really make her hourglass shape even more exaggerated than it already is. Bringing the arm tighter to her frame will exaggerate the shape, so that's something easy she could fix. Hair and makeup is always gorgeous. Usually she does straight hair. I like the hair that she has right here, and sometimes the straight hair gets a little bit too long, so I think this was a good move. If her hair is grown or something, and if she wore it straight, it would cover her glutes. So yeah, I think this is a really, really beautiful look. Her waist looks super tight. So yeah, congratulations to Alice. Oh, one other thing she could change. I don't love the suit. Like, this dark red is just a little too close to the tan. And these certain, like, pink stones read like a little polka dot-ish, which is something that most of her suits do. So she could just have a more uniform suit and one that's not so close to the tan, something that pops off the tan. I think that would really amp up her glam factor. Okay, second place. So in second place we have Anna. So let's pull up her front pose and her back pose. Same feedback about the suit color. This one is okay, but it's just a little bit too close to the tan. I think something else would pop off for better. She's worn green in the past, but it's the same thing. It's like a blackened green, and I would like to see it be like a more saturated green. Okay, so she was posing this way sometimes and not others. So yeah, if she continues with this pose, which I think would be a good move for her, with like this arch in the low back, I need her to level her shoulders. Probably bring her hand down a little bit will help, because that can hike up your shoulder when your hand is up too high, and bring these ribs in and down so we get like a flat torso instead of the distracting bone sticking out. Anyone know bone sticking out? Let me tell you. Okay. Bone sticking out. Trixie and Katya. Nsima, my boyfriend, knows a lot about knows a lot about bone sticking out, and just when we are out on walks, okay, bone sticking out, Trixie, then he will point things out and be like, bone sticking out. Okay, let's see, can we find a video?
Bones sticking out. So speaking of bones sticking out, Princess Diana, how many times? Bones sticking out. So speaking of bones sticking out.
Okay, that's bone sticking out. Okay, that's your little dose of queerness today. Okay, let's look at Alice's. Okay, this posing video is at a different angle, but yeah, she looks very poppy. The tan looks like it's a little bit uneven or something going on. So yeah, that could be improved, but whatever. Okay, and then now we're looking at Anna. Okay, yeah, so same posing things I said in the comparisons, and then long term, it's just going to be more hamstring pop to match this crazy pop she has her glutes. Her physique is incredible. Like, I am a big Anna fan, and I do just feel for her that she keeps getting, like, these just missing her Olympia qualification. She's been in it before. She was there last year. But yeah, like, easy polishing things she could do between now and her next show, and then long term, I think more hamstring, but because it just like is a straight line here, but lots of projection here. So she's so close. It's straight up just one muscle she's missing, and then like some posing tweaks that I'm sure she's already working on, as is evident by her changing her posing at this show. Okay, and then in third place we have Ruki. So I really like Ruki. As I always say, I really like most of these people. Not even most. Like, I don't even know who I would not be referring to when I say that. I like these people. I like that they give me something to give my energy to. And I like that they work so hard because it's inspiring. Okay. So front pose. Yeah. So Ruki is just a little hard here. Anna was overall pretty hard. And I do think Ruki, but Anna was balanced in her conditioning from front to back and top to bottom, whereas Ruki is like distractingly harder in one area than the rest, namely like her arm here. So yeah, makeup and hair look beautiful. Presentation is always really good. I would probably add a little bend to this leg, just a little bit, so her legs don't look like they have this giant gap between them. And yeah, just try to soften up conditioning, move the hand off of the belly button. That's all. I think the red suit is really pretty. I think it could be more of like a V shape in the back. So if she pulled it down in the back and up in the front, which it looks like she could stand to pull it up in the front a little bit, then that would frame her glutes better. Or if anything, add a little bit more scrunch, like right here, so it gives that like V shape, and more coverage, so it makes her glutes look round and covers up this little indentation she has on her glutes, which everyone has, but just ideally her suit will cover them. Okay, in fourth place, we have Lisa. So what hair do I prefer on Lisa? I think I like when she just does a straight hair. This hair is pretty, but my issue is that it's just flat on top, so it doesn't look as glam. Okay. And then in her back pose, bone sticking out, up a bone sticking out. Okay. So here's her back pose. So yeah, my thoughts on Lisa. The hair it's okay. I don't think crimped reads as glam, but it's a cute look. And I would just like to see more volume on top, maybe a side part or something, just something to amp it up. Front pose I think is good. Her ribs look more under control than usual. I do actually stand by what I said there. Could they be a little more in control, like not flaring out like this? I think so. But even Tyler mentioned that in the Impro Pro recap, and it hasn't really changed that much. So I'm sure she's tried to change it and it's just not working. Like, I'm not sure. That's just a guess. So what do I think about the front pose? I think she actually is someone who could stand to show a little more width in her legs because they look small compared to her upper body. So if she had her foot more at a 45 degree or potentially completely horizontal, I hesitate to say that, but I would be curious to see what it looks like. Then I think that would help her balance from top to bottom. Her waist looks super tight. That looks great. I would say her arm looks a little bit overpowering, but I think that's because she has the bend in her elbow, which is popping her shoulder and like putting her arm at this angle. So yeah, I would straighten the arm, level the shoulders. This hand is a little too far up, so it's hiking the shoulder up. So drop that down to the connector, which is right here, instead of being up so high right next to the belly button. And then the suit cut, I think, just does not flatter her. So that's an easy fix. She could totally get a different suit, just more coverage, like more rounded and less pointy. And then her back pose, same thing that I've been saying this season, is she just needs more size on her legs. And I think Tyler said that in his recap of the show he judged her in as well. So just more size on her legs, which is another thing that just takes some time. She's Olympia qualified, so I'd like to see her just take time off and do that. Yeah, it's reminding me of Jess Feeney, who competed a bunch last year, but after she qualified for the Olympia, and she could have stood to make some more improvements and just like taking time off stage rather than continuing to compete. So I would like to see Lisa like take a break. Not that she can even put on much size in this period of time, but I'm also not seeing her change her posing really. So like, what's the point of doing a lot of shows if you aren't making like those easy changes? I'm sure she's practicing something. I just don't know what that is. So yeah, sorry, not to sound like a dick, but I'm just kind of curious. And so yeah, same thing I always say, straighten the arm so I'm not just seeing tricep, so I can see more roundness in the shoulder that matches the roundness and projection in the glutes. I'm just not seeing that with the way she's posed. The elbows are too high up. I want the arms to be straighter, so she has to move her hand down her leg a little bit. Right now it's probably sitting right there in front of her. I want it to sit like right here. So yeah, that's what I think there. And then in 5th place, we have Monique. So yeah, same what the heck? Why are the photos so dark? Okay. Well, I already kind of, oh God, what the heck? I would be pissed. Okay. I don't really, geez. Oh my God. Why? Okay. I don't have anything new to say that I didn't already say, really. I mean, she's a little pinched up in the shoulder blades. I didn't say that. I think she could open her shoulder blades a little bit, probably arch more so I see more upper outer glute. And not angle her toes out because it makes her quads overpower her glutes a little bit. And Monique, I am so sorry. That's how her photos turned out. Okay. Luckily not luckily. I'm sure she would have preferred to win and have shitty photos. But, I mean, luckily those aren't the photos from your first pro win. I guess. Okay, so then we have Beatrix. Okay, love Beatrix. So she just went pro recently. Was it last year? I know I've already done this to you guys. Okay, yeah, she went pro last year. And then it looks like so she still needs to level those hips out a little bit. So some body work could be good. It's just because she is posed on this side. That side is a little more crunched up, and then the other side, which is more relaxed because that hip drops down a little bit in the front pose. The hair I would get off the shoulders, which it wasn't on the shoulders during the comparisons. I don't think, and even if it was, would that have made a difference? No, unlikely. The suit color I think is really pretty. The glutes are poppy. They're not as full as they were last week, so I'll pull up a photo of last week. Because it was last week, right? Yeah, okay. So her glutes looked more poppy at Portugal. So at least I think maybe that's like the tan. It looks like there's some tanning issues. I don't want her to squat as much into this pose because it's pushing out her quads even more and diminishing her hamstrings. So I would have her stand a little bit taller in the legs and not angle her toes out because it's making the quads overpower. So yeah, that's what I would say. And more pop in the glutes, which she's already achieved before, so we know it's possible. Her shoulders look fuller here though, so that's good. But with her, I think it's more muscle on the arms, more muscle everywhere, and including the arms and legs. Yeah, level the shoulders a little bit. It looks like she's drooping this one down. The front pose looks really good though. Yeah, her arm could be a little further behind her glute, or at least in line with her glute, and she could bring her foot more like right here and let her knee drift slightly at the judges to show more balance between the front and the back leg, but this still looks really good. So yeah, okay, so that's my take. Let's see if the photos for Texas are out. I don't think they are. Okay, they're not. But we will go over that hopefully tomorrow. Hopefully they'll be out then. And until then, bones sticking out, and have a great day. Bye.